For 30 seasons, we've seen the grumbling, Duff-drinking, neighbor-hating, slightly overweight, yellow-skinned father of three entertain us on The Simpsons. Yep, we're talking about none other than Homer J. Simpson. From his early days before the Simpsons TV show to modern episodes in HD, watch the evolution of Homer and see how far the character has come through the years, including some crazy body transformations, secret tattoos, and animation styles we've never expected. Before it became its own series, Homer and the Simpsons family debuted in animated shorts for the Tracey Ullman Show. Homer's first appearance came in 1987. The animation was messy and crude, but the essence of Homer was pretty much there. His upper lip was more dramatic, the voice is pretty strange, but listen for the signature Homer laugh and you'll recognize the Homer who would go on to become a pop culture icon. The Simpsons TV show debuted in 1989 and never looked back. Well, except for some key flashback episodes. Anyway, Homer's appearance, including him dressing up as Santa, cursing out his children, and using his infamous "Dough" catchphrase multiple times. Animation-wise, he was a little more rough around the edges, and his voice was a little thicker and deeper for a majority of the first season.
But I'm not going to take my kid to a sleazy dog track on Christmas Eve.
It didn't take the show very long to showcase what Homer was like with a full head of hair. In the Season 2 episode The Way We Was, the show flashes back to Homer's high school life in the 1970s. He has a floppy head of brown hair, rockin' sideburns, and a slightly thinner frame. Toss in some clothes from the 70s, and the younger Homer is truly represented. Simpsons creator Matt Groening put a nice Easter egg into Homer's design by featuring his initials, an M in the hair and a G in the shape of his ears. To prevent the G-shaped ear from being too distracting, he transitioned the design to a fully normal ear by Season 2. The M shape in the hair remains to this day, though. By Season 6, Homer was pretty polished into the character who would remain in the same white polo and blue pants for 30 seasons. Then we got a glimpse into the future for the flash-forward episode Lisa's Wedding. With even less hair, just one strand on the top, and heavier eyes, Homer aged pretty well considering his diet and drinking habits. Long before fully CG movies were the norm, The Simpsons revolutionized television with the 6th Treehouse of Horror special. The third short, Homer 3, transformed Homer into a fully CG character where not only would he be animated in a digital realm, but Homer actually walked the streets in a live-action segment. The animation was a great look at Homer in all 3 dimensions, and similar designs would be used for video games in the future. Homer would do anything to get out of work, including gaining 60 pounds so he can top the scale at over 300 pounds and enjoy working from home every day. 60 pounds makes a huge difference. And while Homer loves the easy life on his couch at home, Marge admits she's less attracted to him.
I'm finding myself less attracted to you physically.
And the nuclear plant nearly has a meltdown because of his lazy attitude. We can't deny how comfortable his Hawaiian muumuu dress looks, though. After over 10 seasons of lower-than-average intelligence, Homer's revealed to have a crayon lodged into his brain. Once removed, he becomes extremely intelligent, solving Rubik's Cubes and completing complicated tasks. But the change doesn't last long as Homer shoves the crayon back in to get back to his normal self again. The Treehouse of Horror episodes have always showcased a new side of Homer, including a lot of body transformations. In Treehouse of Horror 2, Mr. Burns' head gets attached to his shoulder. In Treehouse of Horror 4, Homer's head is transformed into a donut, where naturally he begins eating himself. And in Treehouse of Horror 13, a visit to the island of Dr. Hibbert transforms Homer into a large walrus as the rest of the family turns into animals as well. In the late 1990s, the boom of adult animation began thanks to The Simpsons, and Homer spread his luck around. On the show Duckman, Homer dresses up like a ghost to get his hands on a dozen donuts. He also appears with Bart on an episode of The Critic. Homer's style is pretty much the same, but the animation quality and coloring is slightly different than the traditional Simpsons palette. Homer has had quite the list of injuries over the years, but nothing as graphic as the Season 12 episode Trilogy of Error, where Marge accidentally slices off his thumb. Already starting out with only 4 digits, it seemed like Homer would be left with 3 until a mob doctor helps reattach his thumb during the closing scenes of the episode. Season 13 of The Simpsons showcased another flashback episode, this time showcasing Homer at the ripe age of 12 years old. Just on the cusp of puberty, Homer spends time with his Springfield buddies and often visits the town's quarry for some swimming and mischief. Homer is fresh-faced, innocent, and has a head full of hair, but not as styled as it became during his high school years. Thanks to a well-planned prank from Bart, we saw Homer Simpson transform like never before into the Incredible Homer. With green paint and torn shorts, Homer rampages through the streets, and we even get a Stan Lee cameo to top things off. Naturally, this one scene has led to a plethora of toys, action figures, and designs showcasing Homer as the Marvel hero. And speaking of heroes, Homer didn't need any Marvel rights to create his own. The season 15 Pie Man did the trick. In an effort to avenge his insulted daughter, Homer wears a pie tin tray on his face and transforms into the hero who throws pies into the faces of wrongdoers for the episode Simple Simpson. His success as Pie Man leads to Bart joining him as a sidekick, known as Cupcake Kid. Thanks to the creative promotional team in England, an opening for season 17 of The Simpsons transformed Homer into a fully live-action character. We see all of the infamous opening scenes recreated, and even though the live-action segment is brief, we can imagine how spectacular a full-length episode or movie would be in the future. The 17th edition of the Treehouse of Horror would blow the king-sized Homer episode out of the water. Homer becomes a giant blob in the episode, essentially a huge mountain of yellow skin which takes Springfield by storm as he slithers down the streets, devouring people as he goes, including special guest star Dr. Phil. To help promote the upcoming release of 2007's The Simpsons movie, Homer ventured into the late-night realm, including David Letterman's Top 10 and a special tour of Springfield for an episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live. The Simpsons movie was long awaited and featured the family like you've never seen them before. Thanks to a bigger budget and higher quality animation, Homer was more detailed, featured more shadows, and the animation was much smoother than a traditional episode. For those who didn't get to see the high quality in theaters, the Blu-ray release allowed all the digital pixels to be enjoyed on a television. It took 20 seasons and a lot of advancements in technology, but the episode Take My Life Please was the first of The Simpsons to be featured in full HD. So now in 2009, you could see a whole lot more of Homer, in a widescreen format with much more defined lines, especially for the few remaining hairs on his head. Along with the episode itself, Homer's opening animations were updated as well. After nabbing the role of the superhero Everyman, Homer dedicates himself to getting in shape for the season 21 episode Homer the Whopper. The results are a side of Homer we've never seen before. His body is toned, full of muscles, and Marge loves the new look of her hubby. Unfortunately, Homer's relationship with food gets the best of him, and he ends up back to his former self by the end of the episode. Another couple Treehouse of Horror specials and dozens more versions of Homer. The 23rd special features Bart and Homer's Excellent Adventure, where the United Federation of Homers includes One-Eyed Homer, Elvis Homer, and Pro Wrestler Homer, among others. Then things got really crazy in the 25th special with The Others. The closing moments of the episode featured a stop-motion Homer, an anime Homer, and several incarnations including shows like Archer and South Park. And speaking of stop motion, The Simpsons opening got the Robot Chicken treatment in season 24 when Homer got animated by the Adult Swim show. Showcasing what we all try to create with our own Simpsons toys, the opening was completely focused on Homer as he realizes he's an action figure. He uses a power fist to knock Flanders off the roof, transforms into a large donut, and takes his family for a joyride on a Hot Wheels track. Following in the steps of the Lego movie, The Simpsons got their own Lego show, with Homer being transformed into a mini brick character. The flat face and Lego pieces were designed off of his digital character, and the animation in the show is top-notch. A great comparison can be seen when the Lego Homer opens the toy box at the end and transforms back into his normal self. To help promote season 26, The Simpsons producers and creator Matt Groening hosted a panel at the 2014 San Diego Comic-Con. It was there we saw a whole new version of Homer, the live hologram. Appearing live on stage, Homer interacted with Matt, answered various questions, and played things up for the crowd. The design was a mix between traditional animated form and 3D renders used in various video games. As the seasons went on, the show creators started allowing more and more guest animators to create the opening gag. Ever wanted to see Homer as an 80s action star? Well, you get your chance with the parody Lazy Rider. A chiseled Homer travels around on his couch, stopping crime and looking like he came straight out of an episode of Miami Vice. Season 27 also allowed the show to experiment with different animation elements, including a live portion of the show. At the end of Simprovised, Homer Simpson appeared live on the air for 3 minutes, answering caller questions using special Adobe Live animation technology. Homer's animation was a little more stiff than usual, but we got to enjoy 2 different versions of the live Homer, one for the East Coast and one for the West Coast.
And to prove that we're live, the Texas Rangers beat the Toronto Blue Jays today. Was terrible.
And for another guest animation, Eric Goldberg added some Disney magic to The Simpsons. For the opening couch gag, Homer underwent the biggest transformation of them all as he appeared on a Disney bear similar to the Jungle Book's Baloo. The gag definitely inspired a lot of potential for a full Disney-related episode. And as The Simpsons continues on for multiple seasons, who knows how we will see Homer next? The character has gone through many changes over the years, but remains at his core who Matt Groening originally intended. So, what did you think of his evolution? Anything we missed? What's your favorite version of Homer? Leave a comment below and subscribe to ScreenRant for more great content.